Good morning. And so we begin. Bergamo, May of 2006. And so we begin every morning, every day, actually every moment, moment by moment. I was reading here what we put on the flyer, and I have one word to correct in my quote here on this class will be grounded in the depth of silence and an avenue to the promise that you will come to recognize and understand the illusionary nature of the 3D world known as the nature of error. The corrected word is understand. It should have said demonstrate. We have moved from the need to understand it to the need to demonstrate it. You will come to recognize and demonstrate the illusionary nature of the third dimensional world. As Joel said, how do we know when we're doing that? Non-reaction. Wow. It's all done with smoke and mirrors out there, every bit of it. The smoke being the fear that is permeated through consciousness. I call them the designer diseases. For one, they want to come and tell you your body's got all of it. The alphabet diseases, A, B, C, D, you name it. Now we're on B, isn't it bird flu or aviary flu or some god-awful movie that's coming out. Why? It's an A word. It's called adrenaline. The human nature thrives on adrenaline, the ups, the downs. This is the world of good and evil. This is the nature of error. It's no different than, I call it smoke and mirrors. The smoke is telling you it's bad, it's awful, it's no good, you're no good, they're no good. They did it to you, you did it to them. That's the nature of the smoke. And the nature of the mirrors is, oh, you're wonderful, look, you're improving, look how good you were to that person, look how good they were. And we're right back being thrown out of the Garden of Eden. The nature of good and evil, there we have it. So we come to a path called mysticism, supposedly moving on beyond metaphysics. But have we really? Have we really moved beyond the mental? Have we really, truly surrendered the need to know anything? Life is self-activating. It doesn't need my thinking. It doesn't need anything from me. God is unfolding exactly as is meant to be. The only thing I need to demonstrate is God here, now, this moment, regardless of the mist rising up from out there, regardless of the fog in my head, regardless of the chatter that goes on in the nature of the brain. God is, but only when recognized, here, now. Not by somebody else, but by me. We've come to a time on this path where relying on teachers and gurus is getting a bit passé. Tag, you're it. You're it here, you're it now, moment by moment by moment. Every day you can just turn the TV on, turn the radio on, and you'll get, oh dear, what can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Remember that old song? Matter. What is matter? Joel says it is not mind over matter. It is mind as matter. Whole different thing from the way we've been using to think of it. Mind as matter, one mind. I make all the rest up. Or when they make it all up, I listen, or I believe it. So here we are this weekend, providing a place to allow. This is a time we've all been longing to, and throughout the day we need to do this at home, but something very special about being cloistered together. There's a lot of love that just pours because all that matter dissolves. It's a place of inner contemplation. We cannot bring God down into the lie. I love that. Joel says, cannot bring God into the lie. So I must bring little I to the big I and woo the beloved. Or perhaps allow myself to be wooed. Meaning, if, wooing the beloved is like trying to bring him down into my little world. But allowing myself to surrender, and this is why we love the silence so much. There are so many things that I must surrender to God out there. Things I've picked up that are going to make me feel better. It's all about, let's feel better. But in here, we come in and we let it all go. We let them go. We let all of it go. We let the bank account go. We let all the things all the doctors have told us go. Our husbands, our children, our wives, our bosses. We surrender all of that, every bit of it. Does God want it all? You betcha. God wants it all. Why? Because that's what makes us suffer. Sometimes all we're really doing out there is burning off the karmic evolution that we came in with. But Joel says, rise above it. We come to demonstrate the illusionary nature of that third dimensional world. How? By watching. Here it comes again. No matter what it's telling me about me or thee, just be with it. Allow it to wash over me. And that includes anger, jealousy, all of those things. When I take my hands off of it and just allow it and resist not. When I resist, it persists. And when I just allow and say, okay, come at me with all you've got. I'm going to sit here in the lap of that which lives me, breathes me, moves me. I hesitate to even say God anymore because of that word that it instantly puts a God. Causes that thing we're all suffering from anyway, which is the false sense of separation. So all I can do is be here in the lap of I am. That was the name of God given to Moses coming down off the Mount I am that I am, Yahweh, Jehovah in English, YHWH, I am that I am. But only here, now, moment by moment by moment. Joel says in his wisdom, withdraw from personal consciousness as rapidly as possible. Let I die. There's only 3 reasons that I would suffer in this world. I wrote them down because I didn't want to get them out of. We are only authentic when we have nothing to hide, nothing to prove, or nothing to lose. Those are the 3 things that cause me to suffer. Secrets, afraid I'm going to lose something I already have, afraid I must prove something, or afraid I'm not going to get something I want. We're told to allow to have the divine expression's way with you, but only always. Allowing the divine expression to have its way with you. That means I have to avoid theatrics. I have to avoid the seduction of mysticism, or mystification, perhaps is a better word. No more dramas, no more stories. I must give up the stories. I get to be a transparency for which God will live its life through me, as me. This is not easy for a human being. That means I have to outlive every opinion I ever had about anything, and understand it's all conditioning. The illusionary nature of the 3rd dimensional world is conditioning. I must learn to stay in I-ness, isness, nowness. And I must not claim authorship to the fear, or authorship to any of the you will nevers. You will never be good enough. You will never be understood. You will never be smart as they are. You'll never get it right. There's a good one. You're just never going to get it right. Don't claim it. Let it pass on from where it came, from the darkness. And we remain holding the light, standing firm, as Mary Baker Eddy used to say, stand porter at the door of mind and don't let it in. The work comes after it's let in. So when we can catch it at the door and say, no, I'm not resisting you, but I'm also not accepting you. Move on. You have no home here in my mind. My mind is filled with God, the presence of God, the breath of God. I'm just ising here, just going around ising, allowing, being. Not judging, not claiming, watching. In no way as a disassociative, though. I am watching out of a heart of compassion, love, benevolence. I am not watching as though you're not God and I am. I am watching as though we are all the children, waking up, sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly. Waking up, waking each other up. Sometimes just a look of love can snap someone's hypnotic trance. Sometimes doing nothing, but right in front of whatever the appearance is of conflict, dropping gently into that silent space within. There is nowhere else to go when there is anything but if there's any disharmony out there, there is nowhere else to go but in. If we go out one bit to lift a hand, to rearrange, to manage, to manipulate the outer, it doesn't work, because what happens, we are throwing gasoline on the fire of that which is a hypnosis which has come but to pass, and pass only if I stay out of it. Where do I go? I drop into the silence. I drop into God. I drop into the is. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. Hypnosis as big as it can be. I use a word that works much better for me than hypnosis, which is conditioning, when I am working with other people. And I see before me the belief system of where they have placed their power in the outer. It is so clear, it is nothing more than conditioning. And the forgiveness and the, oh God, they're in trouble, help them. God of their God, soul to soul. There is no ego that comes up to resist that. But if I verbally do, look out. And I still fail a lot. The mouth goes open. It doesn't work. We're beyond that working. There was a period of time when we had to confront and tell them what we thought and what we felt and all that. It's not working anymore because of the egos. The personality selves do battle, but the soul never does battle with soul. So I must practice. I must exercise the muscle of withdrawing all arms, withdrawing the sword, doing no battle, not fighting any flu any more than I'm fighting any war. It's done. The promise is they will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Only within me. The only war I can give up is within me. That's where the battle lies, in my conditioning and my giving it up. My reconnecting and surrendering to God. I, of my own self, know nothing. I must refrain from doing battle. with the out there, nothing out there. And I come home, come back. Whoa, where was I? Back, come home, allow. This has come to pass. Allow, just be. This time I recognized it as it was coming up the road. There it was. A temptation to believe that there is something other than God. God either is or He isn't. And if He is, it must be all. Therefore, it must be my perception and my judgment that is causing the conflict here. If I think it must or should be something other than it is, then I'm the one back in conditioning. Joel speaks a lot about healing. We talk a lot about healing. The only thing to heal, as Joel said, is my own belief. And I say the only thing to heal is fear. I must remove the power of the fear. And how do I do that? By recognizing that it is always false evidence appearing real. So I want to heal them of cancer or this or that. No. They're coming to me trying to tell me that these things exist. And I must go back within and know God is either everywhere or He's not anywhere. No. Caught in another illusion, caught in another dream. I love the paradoxes in the infinite way and in life. We come in one moment we're told, surrender. Surrender it all. The next time we're told, take dominion. Stand porter at the door, take dominion. Taking dominion is surrendering 100% to God. Show me. The dominion I take isn't, okay, Dulcie, I'm going to... No. It's okay, God, I don't know how to fight this. I don't know how to lay down my sword. I don't know how to resist not. I don't know how to demonstrate the illusionary nature of the 3D world, but I know you do. And I come before you open and willing and asking for you to show me and show me how to live this. And I find that as I start to enjoy the attraction of that world less and less and less, I wake up. Human beings really dislike the feeling of powerlessness. But without coming to knowing powerlessness over something, we never learn that it is in the non-power the not resisting that it all dissolves before our very eyes. And if you're in a conflict with another person or situation, often I've pictured it as a tennis match with me on one side of the net and them on the other, with this ball going back and forth, back and forth. And I discovered that if I put down the racket and stop hitting the ball, the game is over. So in life, I lay down the racket, the ball rolls over to the edge of the court, I bow to my opponent, and we can both walk off the court. For it is all I. And I ask myself, am I really ready to let go and surrender having to understand anything? Am I really ready to stop figuring it out with the mind and allowing God to be God? All that really matters here is for me to get still enough, quiet enough, to be able to follow the divine impulse, the divine guidance. This is what I have longed for in my life, was to follow and be guided by the divine impulse of this incarnation. I accused myself for years of being a perfectionist, only to come to find out I had been an imperfectionist the whole time, for what I was always doing was wanting something to be different than it was. I wasn't a perfectionist at all, because a perfectionist is someone who sees things as they are here now and recognizes them as perfect. Why? Because that's what God is allowing. And if God is allowing it, then it is perfect here now in whatever state or stage of development he, she, or it is in. So all that time I was practicing imperfection. That's not right. I'm not right. He's not right. She's not right. The world's not right. The president's not right. The wars aren't right. Nothing's right. How do I know that? I was an imperfectionist. I have become a lover of what is. Why? Exhausted. Much too hard to fight what is. Much too hard to fight the wind. So when the wind comes, it comes. And then it goes. And so do they. There's a spiritual axiom: no matter what the conflict is out there, if I turn to God and go within, it will be, and this is a promise that I've been made many times and found to be true, and find it to be true only, always. It will be healed or removed if I take my hands off of it and die to thinking I know how to fix it. And I really 100% turn my will and my life over. It is healed or removed. And then the next rises up. Oh dear, what can the matter be? Have you ever just woken up in the morning with, oh dear, what's the matter? What's the matter? Something's the matter. Only in my thinking. Only in that universal hypnotism that's been beamed at me. Oh yes, matter. Oh, if it's in matter, not to worry, come to pass. And I changed my song from, oh dear, what can the matter be, to row, row, row your boat gently down, gently, oh, Dulcie, gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Ah, gently down the stream. Merrily. As Joel's book title, Joel's book title, Man Was Not Born to Cry. No. But the key is gently. If I'm rushing around, I miss a lot. Doesn't mean you can't move around fast. It just means that as you're moving around fast, within you, you know you are on the divine destiny track, fulfilling that which you've come here to fulfill in divine order. The difference is one will wear you out and the other one will energize you. That's how I tell the difference of when I'm on my dream destiny path and when I'm trying to do it with the little self. It's amazing how I don't tire putting in long hours when I'm doing the will of my unfoldment, of the God of my unfoldment. How exhausted I am when I'm following a false God that's telling me you ought to, you should, shoulda, woulda, coulda. The false gods that drive our little, the soul right out of us. So when I'm in that, I go, are you coming from your head, Dulcie, or let's move down into our heart? What is our heart path here in this moment? And I surrender again to the little self and to being the imperfectionist that I was trying to be. And I rest back into the silence. And I allow my God's indwelling place. And we just be the unfoldment of the Christ. And I go back to Joel's wisdom. Do not expect the power of God to function in the dream, but rather to break the dream. And I have to give up the dream coming out the way I think it should. This happens to be a come as you are party. For God can only meet me where I am in consciousness. I cannot be any higher than I am. I cannot be any more awake than I am. Therefore, I am at a come as you are party here on the earth. And I'm at the level of consciousness that God is bringing me along. We are all right where we are. God asks only one thing, and that is to be real, to be authentic, and to know that perfection of your being is exactly where it is, couldn't and shouldn't and wouldn't be anywhere other than it is. Any more than a tree can grow any faster than it can grow. And you know, it's so interesting to see how trees grow and they don't even worry about how tall they are, or when their leaves are coming out, or when the blossoms are there. They just grow. They just trust. They're not worried whether any nutrients are getting into their roots. They're not worried about any of it. They just allow God to take care of it all. They seem to be doing just fine as I look around here. And so are we. So let's spend the rest of our time together basking in that rich sunlight of the Spirit, deep sea diving into soul with the word perfect. You're perfect just where you are, what you're doing, what you're thinking, the whole thing, part of the unfoldment. And we abstain from any battles in the mind, and we drop back to soul, and we become consciously aware. Now, this retreat is not about zoning out, blissing out on mountaintop high, on cloud 9. That's not what Joel's about. It's about being consciously aware of the presence of God moment by moment, tree by tree, flower by flower, breath by breath, bite by bite. And as we walk by those trees or flowers, let it brush up against my cheek or my head. It's as though God is kissing you. It's like being blessed by the holy ones, walking under tree leaves and letting them brush the top of your head. The sentient beings of the earth, whose wisdom is beyond having to know anything, but allow. So welcome, and so we begin the sacred silence. Our God's indwelling place.